For that, go to trumpaccounts.gov and sign up.
Welcome to American Wasp with Dieter
Any child
McBusiness.
who'd like to sign up. Our previously
Left Coast
wide-open
Live.
borders have
Just
been
listening in on Trump's
transformed
speech.
into
Hasn't said
the
much of
most
consequence
secure
yet.
borders in the history of our country, with 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the United States in the past 14 months. That is 0. Nobody thought it was possible. We had the worst border in the history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide, with the murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 125 years ago. We're making a record investment in our armed forces, and we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections.
Here we go.
You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure. One where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence, revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country. A standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information. given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were supposed to be at a different level by different people, incinerated and checked, but it never happened.
What?
Maybe we got lucky.
What?
We believe this was not done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that were supposed to burn the bag. But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Tonight, we're publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that
President
our
Donald
government
Trump
has
deliver a speech to the country where you heard him portray
Cut him off.
an intelligence community that he is portraying as hiding information from.
Reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America. Tonight, we're releasing all of those findings, and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026. This is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results on these terrible machines. Today, we are releasing documents that show the CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020, and that's what they did. This reporting included precise details about methods to regime develop to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep they went. This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth
This is
set of
it.
documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected,
This is how they do it, guys.
buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned, they couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls, and yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of L.A. and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, really, we should be together. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody. And it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest.
Yep.
I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens
You answered your own
on
question,
their voter
Bert, because they're
rolls
in a
and
cult.
direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately. But most importantly, addressing
He's
this
just playing the
crisis
hits.
of election security demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act.
It's not going to happen.
How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or
MS
can't
now
get
cut away
elected
from this,
any
by the
other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo,
It's their narcissism,
voter
Bert.
ID. How simple is
Narcissism
that?
of being in a
Could
cult.
I have your photo, please? Photo, voter
It's
ID.
funny because he's just
All
Trump is
voters
just
must
projecting
provide
here.
proof of citizenship.
He wants to rig it because
Are
he
you a
knows that he
citizen of
can't
our
win.
country, please. And hopefully there
He's
will
not
be
running
no
again.
corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched
I
California
mean,
and so many
with
other
the
He's about to
places,
midterms
lose,
and
he's
shit.
about to lose a
mail-in
lot of
ballots
power.
are inherently
Yeah.
corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel if you're going away on business or vacation. These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together, we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will
He doesn't
be
have
bigger,
votes.
better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military. And God bless America. Thank you very much.
Oh, you want to stick
President
around?
Donald Trump speaking from the East Room of the White House for more than
I'm
25
just,
minutes. The
All right,
president
let's get
spending
our
the first
reactions.
minute
People don't
speaking
wanna-
about the U.S. economy,
People don't want
citing
us to just
dropping
watch
inflation
Fox
rates.
News
And
through YouTube. I refuse to participate.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. Sorry that was a little bit of a last-minute jump on the horse kind of situation with timing in terms of getting on here. But he didn't really get into the real purpose of the speech until a few minutes in when he started talking about China and 220 million ballots, I believe, was the number. that he
220
claims
million.
China messed with or had access to that much voter information.
With zero evidence
I think it was only
whatsoever.
150 million people that voted in the last election too, wasn't it? Like 75, something like that.
Yeah, like 160. I think 160 million in
Yeah.
total. Like, because like
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't just the Democrat side, and Republican
Yeah.
side. But what's really remarkable about that is like I mean, obviously he's setting the stage for
Yeah,
election
stealing the
denialism.
election. Yep.
But it's it's so funny because I was listening to it like on 3 times speed, like in the lead up for this, just like getting caught up basically, and he really just didn't have anything new to say at all. Like if he's so desperate, he really wants the midterms to go the way of the Republicans, so he's just throwing anything against the wall that sticks.
Yeah, this is the
And-
foundation.
yeah.
I mean, that's what you saw tonight was the official groundwork, the explicit groundwork for undermining our elections. That's
the
what
thing
this
is, it's like it's nothing we haven't already heard before either. Like,
But the left
Save
needs to get
Act is
better
not
at
gonna-
explaining voter ID.
Sure.
That's the one thing that the right doesn't that they have in this conversation that the
Mm-hmm.
left hasn't done a good enough job of is explaining why voter ID doesn't work.
Exactly.
Why it's racist and why it's exploitive of people who have certain work schedules and so forth.
Well, I mean, the fundamental thing is that it's unconstitutional. I mean, it's not. I mean, for one, even his own party is against it. There are enough Republican votes. Well, there are votes for no, basically for the Save Act. It wouldn't succeed anyway. And even if it did, it would get held up in the courts because essentially the Save Act is it's basically a poll tax. If there's nothing in the provision, if there's nothing in the legislation that covers or has money put aside for covering um, uh, people's purchase of ID or what have you in order to prove that they are a U.S. citizen and are legally able to vote. If that's not covered, if that's not addressed in the legislation, it's dead. It's not going to go anywhere. So like it's just it's not going to pass. But obviously, Trump is super desperate because I mean the writing's on the wall. He's been warned. If the Democrats take the House and the Senate, they're going to spend every day impeaching his ass. Which I mean, they should be doing already. Like it's actually remarkable how much he continues to get away with, um, because he's crossed so many lines that even people within the Republican Party on the Senate, in both chambers of Congress, the House and the Senate, they should be teaming up with the Democrats right now to not only invoke the 25th Amendment, but impeach him like immediately for all kinds of things, obviously.
Yeah, the Trump coin would be the easiest one for me. Just like that's just another level of
Yeah,
corruption.
yeah,
President
the
has
the
his own
crypto
fucking
thing.
currency. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? It's
yeah,
outrageous. It's
like,
outrageous. No,
when you
so
put it
yeah,
like
for
that,
those of you
yeah.
just joining us, if you haven't seen the speech, you don't need to watch the first 5-10 minutes, but you should check out the highlights and understand that the conspiracy theories, which work so well with right wingers, has now been shotgunned out into the public sphere and ready to be eaten up and disseminated by his ilk. And it's going to
Yeah.
be crap. And it's just going to be more talking points for them at bars and shit like that. Um, but yeah, no, you're right, Pinkerbell. He's desperate enough to ask his followers to intervene. Yeah, I mean, that's
Exactly.
basically what I think that's who I think he was talking to tonight was like, get ready to not believe. And then they're going to do whatever they can on a citizen
Yeah.
level to disrupt the election as well.
Exactly. Yeah,
There's
I
a
mean-
lot of Trump groups out here, man, where I am in
Mhm.
California. One group in particular that I follow and pay attention to. It's pretty damn scary. It's pretty
Yeah.
damn scary. They want to intimidate people. They do
Yeah.
these long caravans on the highway of like 200 cars in a row and shit, wearing with all the Trump gear and the flags and whatnot. It's like, you
Right.
fucking cultists, man. You just get an education, get some life experience,
Yeah.
or
It's
just shut
It's
up.
just pathetic.
Better
It
yet,
really
just
is.
shut up. But
Yeah.
midway through, MS Now cut away. I had to go over to Fox News to get the rest of the coverage. Do you want to listen to MS Now real quick just to hear what their reaction
Yeah.
is?
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
hear what they have to say, basically.
Just hear what because they cut away from it. So when
President
I,
Donald
Government
Trump
has long
deliver a
known these
speech to the
machines
country
are
where you heard him
exposed to attack.
portray
As one
an intelligence
assessment
community
station
that he
judge
is
said.
portraying as hiding information from him. There is no evidence of that. We're going to talk with
That's-
somebody
that's
who's
the point
actually
I wanted to
working in
make,
the
if you
FBI
wanted
about
to
that.
just
We're
pause
also
it
going
real
to talk to
quick.
Ken Delanian about
The
all
biggest
of his
thing,
reporting
the
about
biggest sticking point with all of Trump's rhetoric is the fact that like he needs evidence from his intelligence that actually points to, oh, China is interfering with our election, with our votes, and our machines, this that, and the other, and here's the evidence. But the problem is, there is none. If he was actually going off of American intelligence, then we wouldn't be at war with Iran right now because his own director of national intelligence, that office, before Tulsi Gabbard left, she stated, and it wasn't just her either, with sincere clarity, that there was no nuclear weapons program in Iran. There is no evidence to support that they were pursuing nuclear weapons, nothing like that. And of course, Trump ignored his own appointee, his own agency, his own cabinet official, and went to war anyway. And we're stuck in a quagmire now, and it's blowing. It's getting even more out of control. We got the Houthis and the Saudis now back at war with each other for the first time in 4 years, It's a fucking mess because the wrong people are telling him the wrong fucking things, and
And he's
it's
stupid enough
just
to believe them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Todd
'cause
Blanche is a certain kind of evil.
desperate.
Have you been paying attention to him? My
Not-
God,
not
that
too
guy
much
will
lately,
do
but yeah, fuck
anything.
that guy.
Oh my God, that guy's evil. All right,
But
back
Pastor,
Yes.
I also just want to know.
All right, so the
because
guys, just so you know, I watch MS Now just to see where the baby boomer liberals are at.
Mm-hmm.
There was a study recently that the average age of everybody that watches Fox News, MS Now, or CNN is over the age of 70.
That's
I noted this earlier, but the
insane.
intelligence community under Trump during his first term
70.
put out a declassified report. And in it, they said, we have no indications that any foreign actor attempted to alter any technical aspect of the voting process. Again, that's
This
according to a
too.
declassified report on the 2020 election from back when John Ratcliffe was the director of national intelligence. Trump is talking in part, and I want to turn to you here, Michael. He's talking in large part here about raw intelligence, intelligence that can be tips, they can be just calls that come into the FBI. A lot of those are just thrown out. Thousands of them, even on a daily basis. Explain to
crying
people
out
watching
loud.
who just heard him
Dominion had
kind
to
of
be paid
portray a universe where the
over
intelligence
$700
community
million
is
by
hiding
Fox
information
News
from
for
them. How this
their
actually works, why raw
smears.
intelligence wouldn't be even presented to a candidate or put out publicly.
Yeah, so the
Those voting
intelligence
machines.
community collects easily hundreds of thousands of data points any given day. They collect it from human spies. They collect it from signals intelligence.
Yeah, right.
They collect it from electronic
Hey, you wanna hear the
signatures and
Fox News
environmental
reaction?
variables in any given geographic
might as well.
area. And a lot of what they get
Of achievements. He characterized tax changes and help with prescription drugs. He did talk about a strong military, but didn't speak about years starting not disclosing anything to President Trump or any of his administration officials. He went on to say that the newly declassified documents show election counting machines are vulnerable, have been, and officials inside
doesn't
the
mean
intelligence
anything.
community knew that. Now, you just heard him make those claims that electronic voting
doesn't mean they're
machines are
infiltrated.
vulnerable and easily compromised. Fox News has not seen that evidence directly
Right.
yet and is
He's
not in
just
a
repeating.
position
Of course
to
Fox
evaluate
News
the
hasn't,
accuracy
yeah.
of the president's
No one
statements
has,
at this
'cause it's
time. But the
bullshit.
president did say the documents will all be posted on the website whitehouse.gov tonight.
Right. That'll the
For the latest on
fucking
this story and all the
forensics
day's
analysts
news,
will
stay
have a
with
field
Fox,
day with
this
that.
Fox station or tune into
Or, I
Fox
mean,
News channel.
Even
Stay
standard
tuned
punches
for-
too, like your standard
We're with
personalities
Mike,
that cover politics and
who's
shit. It's
leaving
just
home.
like, oh, let's see what kind of bullshit Trump's trying to pull out of his ass this time. You know, the previous 60, 70, fucking 80 times where they tried to like point like, oh, here's the smoking gun. Here's the proof right here.
Yeah,
It
and I
just
think
amounts
it's
to
gotten
nothing.
old. I think
It's
America's
beyond old.
America's pretty tired of it. We can see it coming a mile away. No one
Yeah.
really believes him. You got to be, you
No
know,
one
again,
cares
folks, if you're
anymore.
just watching us for the first time or if you need a little refresher on what the core talking points you should be taking from this show are, one is the size of MAGA. It is 1/3 of the voting public, probably like 20% of the overall public at large. That's just adults. Okay? But 1/3 of the voting public. That's hard for people to get their heads around because it's 2/3
Yeah.
of the GOP. That's the important part, is it's 2/3 of the GOP. And then you get into defining MAGA. What is MAGA? Well, demographically, it's rural, uneducated whites, a.k.a. white trash, a.k.a. Confederate flag-waving, Bible-beating gun nuts. Take that with you into the next conversation we're talking about MAGA, because it's going to take a 40-year war to undo all this shit.
Oh, big
And
time.
the good news is, I think he's already, I think everyone saw this coming, so
Yeah.
no
He's
one's
just
going to
a-
be surprised by this. No one,
Like,
except
yeah.
for his followers, are going to, take this seriously.
Yeah, it's the most predictable shit in the world. It's all the same shit that we've heard for years and years and years now. I don't understand how, I mean, you said it earlier. This is just playing to his loyalists, his fan
Yeah.
base of loyalists who will believe anything he says, who will do anything he says. Because I wouldn't, I would be shocked if anything actually new or on the level of a revelation is revealed by their intelligence shop or whatever the fuck that Trump said that they were going to make public on the White House website or whatever the fuck. Didn't Elon
Yes.
compromise voting? There, I
There's a
mean,
lot of evidence to suggest that he did, especially with the
maybe
emergency stuff that he called in or whatever.
there
There were
was
like terrorist warnings or something, bomb threats or something.
something along those lines. He also,
Such a piece of
I
shit.
saw a headline recently regarding Elon Musk saying he might actually be held accountable for election tampering by offering voters $1 million to go out and vote for that judge in Wisconsin in that special election a couple years ago. Judge Protasewicz, like to vote against
I
her.
don't know.
I
I
I,
don't know.
I forget exactly when that was, but he did interfere with that, and
He's such
I
a
don't
piece of
know.
shit.
There's a couple other things too. Like they've hinted like nudge nudge wink wink. Well, Elon Musk, he really sure knows those voting machines. Thank you, Elon. Like what the fuck is that about? But nothing really tangible has really come from any of that. But it's worth keeping an eye on. I guess you could say. Still, I can't. I, I trust my shit not to stink more than I trust Elon.
Have you seen the polls from the 2028 like front runners?
Lately, no. Not
Okay.
since we talked about him last. I think a month or so ago. Any changes in that regard?
No, but have you ever seen this guy Hutch? Have you ever heard of this guy Hutch on YouTube?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not gonna like show his stream, but because I didn't bookmark the time spot, but he's talking about like how Kamala should run again in 2028 and how she was a good
God.
nominee and barely lost, and same with Hillary. Like
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there's still so much love out there, and there are still defenders of this Democratic Party right now.
I don't understand.
I don't know how you defend this Democratic Party. This is the Democratic
No.
Party that gave you Trump.
Yes,
He should never
100%.
have been able to win at any point. Not in 2016, not in 2020,
Exactly.
and not in 2024.
Yeah, like fucking Kamala Harris should fucking be living in a hole away, like just cast out from society for for the rest of time. Same with Hillary. You know, like
Yeah.
every now and then, like she'll like Hillary would come out and say, you know, a good quip here and there, or point out the obvious, gloats.
But I'm thinking about doing
which-
I'm thinking about doing a video on this guy Hutch and just calling him like a complete pussy and
Yeah.
like the exact opposite of what the exact opposite of what the left needs.
Yes.
You know,
Oh
like,
my
this
God,
is the
dude.
definition. This is the definition of a loser.
Yes.
Like
I
you know,
couldn't,
even
I couldn't agree
Pinkerbell,
more.
who's actually, by all accounts, Pinkerbell is actually a really nice person. Even Pinkerbell is calling him a eternal loser. Like he's got to go.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
not-
how you
yeah.
defend Kamala. How do
No,
you
of
defend
course.
Kamala's loss?
Yeah.
Like, oh, she didn't have enough time. Are you fucking kidding me? Well, why was she there in the first place? Because Biden mishandled power.
Bingo.
So let's get no more Biden people. That's he was reacting to this interview with this DNC kind of veteran, and I was like, all right, well, let's hear how the establishment thinks about things. And he's just a strategist. Guy's been in the game for a long time, super old, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And he's just like, yeah, anybody connected to the Biden administration has got to go. The Democratic Party has got to move on
Yes.
from the Biden administration.
100%.
And,
Like, because
Hutch
you know,
is sitting there, he's like, oh, what? Why? Like, I'm like, dude.
are you kidding? Like, what do you mean? Why? Holy shit! Like, do you think for a goddamn second? Because this would be required. This would be essential if Kamala Harris was to run. You know, she would need to have the guts and the courage to call out the Biden administration for their failings. You don't have to attack Biden himself, because like I am willing to admit, or I am willing to at least partially accept that a lot of issues within the Biden administration weren't specifically due to Biden himself. and even his son Hunter Biden has touched on this a little bit because obviously, like Kamala Harris even hinted to it in her book, little excerpts here and there about um, just the overall attitude within the Biden administration and how it was gatekeepy and a little elitist and it was clicky and
Yeah,
shit. And
sure.
it's like if you're not
They didn't
willing
have
to
a
call
really
that
well-defined leader.
exactly, no,
Their leader was too weak. Their leader was too weak to unite
exactly.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they may have done a couple good things here and there, but it was just disarray because
Good.
he wasn't even supposed to be in there in the first place. I don't know.
Good question, Todd.
Yeah,
Because he's a narcissist. That's why.
Yes.
Because he's a narcissist. And actually,
his
there's
time
a
is coming
practical.
to a close.
There's a strategic reason here too. He's trying
Mm-hmm.
to discredit what is going to be a blue wave in both 2026 and 2028.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a lot more than neurotic. He's narcissistic. He has narcissistic personality disorder. There's
Yeah,
no doubt in my
without a
mind.
doubt.
And his
Yeah.
privilege, his wealth, not just the privilege that he has now, but the privilege that he had growing up, that was all facilitated the narcissism. The narcissism
Yes.
got worse with him over time.
No, of course. Yeah, he just straight up like think about it psychologically. If you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth, you're handed everything your entire life. You carry that entitlement with you your entire fucking life. Trump has a history of not being able to handle being told no or you can't do this. That I mean, it's a rapist mentality. Look no further than his business ventures in Vegas, his bankruptcies, when the lawsuits that he's faced and shit, his constant failures to pay contractors. He gyps everybody. I mean, that's probably not like the best way to put it, but he rips people off. He rips people off. He is a malignant narcissist. He is a perpetual, habitual, and pathological liar. And it's like everybody is so jaded and just so sick of him at this point that it's like we all just forget it. We're just so used to this at this point. We just want this to be fucking over. We just
Did you see?
What?
Did you see the video of that guy getting his ass kicked in L.A.? January 6th, that got pardoned.
no, I did not.
Yeah.
What happened?
Randy says, yeah, his daddy got him out of Nam. I
Mhm.
bet my cousin who died in Nam would have liked my great uncle to have gotten him out of it.
No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, Randy, the Vietnam War screwed up the left a lot. You know,
Yeah.
LBJ would
unfortunately.
have gone down as a potentially really great president if he hadn't escalated things with Vietnam. And
Yes.
there's evidence to suggest that JFK was actually trying to get us out of Vietnam and negotiate a peace with Khrushchev to end the Cold War.
Yep, and they killed him
that
for it.
assassination, that really was. We're still kind of, in a weird way, aren't we still kind of looking for our JFK? Aren't we still like
Yeah.
as a country not over it? Like we
I-
still
I would
want that.
say so.
We still want that movie star president. We thought we had it with Obama, and then it was
Mm-hmm.
like, yes, we can, but no, we won't. You know, I'm struggling, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I got.
You're right.
I'm gonna run. I'm gonna wrap soon, but you should keep going. But
Sure.
I'm struggling with the Obama episode because he is still
Yeah.
so fucking popular. And
No,
it's
yeah.
like, Jesus Christ, people just do not do their homework.
No,
He
yeah.
was so disappointing. He was
Mhm.
never progressive. He was always liberal, and he always
Yeah.
believed in the private sector to lead the way. His fundamentals were wrong. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
why we haven't had a good president in my lifetime because all of them had bad fundamentals.
Yeah,
They
no,
all
like
did. They all
he-
thought that the private sector was supposed to lead the way.
Yep, and it fucking didn't, and because like, I mean, and we're just seeing the consequences of that now. You know, the Obama administration was extremely charitable to big tech, and
Right.
now big tech like basically runs fucking everything. You know, they are absolute giants, and Like Obama, you can call, I mean, you can call him, like, I'm not exactly sure what you would call your episode, but like if it's something along the lines of like the biggest, like like the ultimate mixed bag, because that's essentially what he was. You know,
Well, I think it's the biggest disappointment. I mean, there was so much
that's a probably better.
hope and change, and
Yeah,
I make the argument it's who
yeah,
he surrounded himself with. I make the
Yeah.
argument that he wasn't ready. He surrounded himself with the likes of Rahm Emanuel,
Mm-hmm.
and the biggest mistake was appointing Hillary Clinton Secretary of State and making her the heir apparent.
Mm-hmm.
That was really stupid. To breathe life back into the Bush Clinton years, not a good play. And hindsight proves that.
Mm-hmm.
2016 proves that that was a bad decision.
bingo. If you
So again, here we are with mishandling of power.
yeah,
You know, Biden did the same thing in just a more of egregious way.
yeah,
But long term, we have to learn how to move on from messianic figures. Like, and shame on the average Democratic voter in 2008 for, being satisfied with either one,
yeah.
Hillary or Obama, because neither of them were ready. Well, Hillary
Right.
was probably more ready than Obama was, but she wouldn't have been good.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I do think that she would have been better than Trump
At
in
a
hindsight.
basic
that's
level,
for sure.
dude, Obama just
Mhm.
cared about being liked. He
Mhm.
cared about. He was just another president who cared about. There's this great movie, Jack Ryan movie called Clear and Present Danger, and this guy
Yeah.
who works for the president goes down to Colombia to organize a vigilante task force, right? That's going to
Yeah.
go out and kill all the fucking drug dealing, drug makers in the
Uh-huh.
jungles of Colombia, and he says, "What is the guy he's trying to hire to do it?" Says, "What does your boss want?" And he says, "It wants what every first-term presidential administration wants: a
Second
second
term.
term."
Yeah. I mean, that would be, think about it now, that would be a much better title for like your potential Obama video. Like Obama, the biggest disappointment in American history.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's gonna be tough, like being liked versus being respected. I mean,
And being efficient.
I just really want someone to come along who doesn't give a fuck. I think
Yeah.
there's that book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, that's so popular with women,
Mhm.
and it sounds hilarious. I should probably read it, but I don't really read much anymore, to be honest with you guys. But
I feel it.
unless it's really important, unless it's like research oriented. But I think Gen Z in particular and millennials to a certain extent, we really value people who don't give a fuck.
Mhm.
And where the left is still has yet to find its fuck you voice, right? We
I
need
agree.
someone to come out and say, I'm going to teach you motherfuckers how to
Mhm.
tell MAGA to fuck off and die for the rest
Yes.
of their lives.
Yes.
Because there's nothing good about them influencing our society. Nothing.
Couldn't agree more. That absolutely needs to be the case. And now with the whole Graham Plattner thing, it needs to be someone who doesn't have a troubled history and is upfront and honest about who they are, what they've gone through, where they've been,
Yeah,
and
Graham Plattner
is-
was a ticking time bomb.
yes, like it was. I mean, all that was going to come out eventually at some point or another. Eventually, I think it was inevitable. You're right, ticking time bomb, and the fact that he was, it was, I think at the end of the day it was ego. It was ego and entitlement. And don't get me wrong, like he had a great platform. He had the right ideas. He had the right campaign. But
And the
if-
prospect of replacing Susan Collins with someone like that was pretty sexy for a lot of leftists.
of course,
So that's the
of
contextual
course.
variable that everyone's lost sight of. It's like
Yeah.
we were about to take out Susan Collins and replace her with a progressive,
Mhm.
like, and it still might happen.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
Plattner,
do like Troy
dude,
Jackson.
this guy had a lot of red flags, and
Yes,
I,
yes.
this fuels more than anything else in a specific way. First of all, there's two things this fuels. One is the good fuel is suspicious of people with military training, and people who have done the mercenary thing.
Yeah,
That's definitely lesson numero uno.
I forgot about that mercenary thing until these
Yeah.
allegations came out, and then I'm like, wait, he actually did like contract like
Yeah.
BlackRock military like mercenary work.
Yeah.
That's like very not
Sketchy.
okay.
Yeah, it's evil.
Yeah, of course
And
it is.
then,
Yeah.
but I just hope I don't. A lot of I saw Liz Plank, who, for those of you guys don't know, she's this pretty cute girl out of New York, and she talks politics on her Instagram channel. I don't know how she makes money or whatever, but it's what she does, and she's pretty popular. And she went after what she has come to label the Bro Socialists, also known as the Bernie Bros.
Uh,
You and I might be considered Bernie Bros.
God, yeah.
We have our issues with Bernie, but
Still got my
fundamentally,
I still got my Bernie sign from
Right.
my rally that I attended of his back in 2019, right up here above my door here.
yeah,
And it was cool. It was August
he's
2019.
not a
he came through
perfect guy,
Sacramento. No.
but she was using the failure of Graham Plattner as an excuse to say that like Bernie Bros are what's wrong with the progressive left, and
No.
I'm just like, have you been to a DSA meeting? Like clearly not, because it's mostly like childless millennial men and a lot of gay men, and then there's it varies per chapter. I don't want to be cast too much of a generalization, but there's a lot of straight white men that are
Yeah.
in the DSA and that are here to help. So let's
No,
not,
of course.
let's not try to. It's
Paint
totally.
with a
I know
broad
where
brush.
it comes from. Like, well, it comes from a narcissistic place where people like Liz Plank thinks that she deserves to be in charge, or a woman, just by virtue of the fact that
Yeah.
she's a woman, deserves to be in charge. And then
Right.
there goes. Now we've lost the idea of the team, which is what the lesson from Obama was you need
Exactly.
a team. You're not just electing a president; you're electing a team.
Right, and this mentality that is that still lingers within liberal and progressive circles, that where everything has to be tied back to identity politics, is just toxic. It's like it's a non-starter um for a lot of people these days, because it's like it's reductive.
Right.
There's no actual point in reducing everything to your identity or your orientation.
It's
or
just
anything like that,
easier.
because it's-
Remember,
No,
in my
sure.
essays, the dichotomy that I ask is people's behavior does not run down the lines of right versus wrong. It runs down the lines of right versus easy. And it's
Yes.
easier
Yeah.
to trust someone that looks like you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that you got to get past that. You're supposed to get
Of
past
course.
that on the left. I was talking
Yeah.
with some Latino activists.
It's a lot more common
And-
than people want to admit.
And well, the good news is that the people that I'm talking to in the millennials and the Gen Z generations, they don't care about identity. They really don't. They don't give a shit. I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice to have
Yeah.
a female president, but
Yeah.
she's gonna have to be a complete bitch, like because we need to crack some heads.
Yeah.
That's the vibe. People want the conflict, and I think you and I are in agreement, and will unapologetically advocate that it's like, this is not just about 2028. It's not even just about 2026 and hedging his power. It's not about the big wave and getting the trifecta in 2028. This is about the next 40 years. We can't sleep until all of the silent generation and baby boomer generation are gone.
Yes.
They need to be gone. We cannot listen to them anymore.
No,
And
exactly.
This is another
yeah.
thing I want people to take from this show is you take all that racial resentment, take all that immigrant resentment, resentphobia, take the resentment towards Muslims, gays, you name it, right? Where it really belongs is generational resentment. The boomers fucked us, y'all. They had so many opportunities to do things like pay down the debt, redo education, invest in new public schools, all this shit. They didn't have to spend that much money on the military. They didn't have to, go crazy with the corporate tax cuts and the 1%er tax cuts.
Exactly.
One of the things Obama did do right was he cut taxes for small businesses 12 times. And that's one thing that I'll be interested in your perspective on this. I want to make sure that the DSA can be a friend to small business. I want to make sure that the progressive left is a
Yes.
friend to good, well-run small businesses because they employ more people than most categories of businesses. And, I don't want them to have to get screwed over by union laws, those kinds of things.
Sure.
I have a lot of friends who are small business owners and they run their businesses right as far as I can tell. They treat their employees all get benefits and so forth. So I just want to, I want to preserve that like we're anti-capitalist, not anti-commerce.
No, yeah, no, that's 100%, and that's like a really important distinction too, because obviously you have just empty-headed fucking fuckwits that will like no matter what conflate um, communism with democratic socialism because they don't understand the difference between the two. Like socialism is all about the market. If the market is democratized, the market is healthier. Like it's not about like communism. Like oh yeah, like it's everything's just equal by force. Fourth, it's like by force. It's nobody's calling for that. Nobody's serious. Nobody with a actual fundamental understanding of these things are calling for the things that communists call for. It's not like, I mean, we're not like when it's like seizing the means of production, right? It's about control of control should be dictated by the worker, the people who make the product, the people whose labor generates the value for these companies and shit. It's just like that shouldn't be so hard to
Yeah, but that's a mature
grasp.
business. That's for mature businesses.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like it's just ridiculous because like it's done on purpose. Like I think a lot of people actually do know the difference and understand that there is a difference, but they don't give a shit because like
Right.
everything left is bad. Everything fucking leftist related is toxic and evil. Therefore, I hate it. It's just
What's always
reductive.
amazing. They never underestimate the ignorance, the willful ignorance of the American public, because there's so much transparency now on how power actually works in our country. Like
Yeah.
you could do the homework required to understand how money has corrupted politics. You could do it in a few hours.
Yeah.
Like you could go on, you could watch some good smart videos, you could weed through the bullshit and find trusted parties and figure it out pretty damn quickly. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
And nobody does that on the right. Nobody does
No.
that in the center. And you got guys like Hutch who are completely like okay with PACs and the
God,
premise
no.
of PACs.
Oh
The only
man.
reason to take PAC money is to be competitive if you're really desperate for money and it comes from a PAC like the one that Tom Steyer started 10 years ago called the Progressive PAC, and he didn't grow it, unfortunately. It didn't
Right.
last.
Right. Yeah.
Here we go. I noticed I don't hear anything about Obama saving the economy because Bush fucked everything up. Why don't you talk about the shit Trump is doing to the economy and the country?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I think it's pretty self-evident, my man.
yeah, I mean, we're pretty much. Thank you, Patrice Ramsey, for chiming in. It is very much at this point. It's like we were saying earlier in the stream. It really is self-evident that like the Trump administration is the worst thing that has ever happened to this country, and everything is horrendous right now, and it's by design, and it's everybody's so jaded. They just want everything just want this to be over. They want him out of power. It cannot be overstated just how bad things are right now because of Trump. But also, we do give credit where it's due. Like it doesn't matter what side of the aisle. We were actually just, I mean, obviously you heard us talking about Obama. Dodd Frank was good, but it didn't go far enough. Obama failed by refusing to prosecute the bankers
Yeah.
that caused the 2008 financial crisis. And because of his failure, because of his flip-flopping once he took power, because he had a supermajority. He had the House, he had the Senate, he had the presidency. He did shit with it. What, like a half measure for healthcare? You know, like fucking it, under Obama, Democrats lost 1,000 seats nationwide.
Yeah.
State and federal seats. You know, the state senates and state house seats and whatnot. And it's because he didn't deliver on hope and change like he
Yep.
campaigned on.
Yep.
You know, like he was a decent president, but he wasn't a good president. You know, like, and
I give him a
that's-
C
that's as
plus.
much- yeah, that's
And I
the
think
mo-
that's generous.
That's being generous. Yeah,
That's
honestly.
generous because that's like C plus, and that's kind of ignoring how he set up Hillary Clinton to be the loser in 2020,
my
2016.
my dad told me one time that if Hillary had never attacked Obama the way she did during the 2008 running, I guess you could say,
Primaries, yeah.
he probably Obama could have and should have picked Hillary to be his vice president, and
Right.
she would have won 2016 in a landslide.
Probably.
You know, if everything actually, like, if everything went well, like, that would have been a shoe in, but Hillary won. Hillary just wanted it so bad that
she
he
wanted to be Secretary of State, which is a much better job.
yeah, and what she ended up being ultimately, but I mean, it could have. I mean, obviously, like, I wasn't following politics closely at the time, so like maybe there probably could have been discussions about like maybe picking Hillary, but like would that play well with the base? Because like because I'm thinking about the reason that Obama picked Joe Biden was to play into excuse me, like the baby boomer conservative, like kind of like good old boy, white boy, Catholic
Yeah.
demographics and whatnot, and that's ultimately why he picked Joe Biden. But who knows?
I think she
Hindsight-
said no. I think Pinkerbell's right. She wouldn't have wanted the VP spot.
Yeah, that's that's probably it too. I can definitely see that because fucking Hillary's got that a shitload of pride.
All right, I'm starving.
her.
I gotta go eat. But it's good to see you, man.
problem.
Let's
No,
let's
yeah,
do it again. Are you
Of
are you
course,
gonna
dude.
stay on your stream?
Maybe for a little bit, yeah. I'll probably
Okay,
see if
cool.
I find something else to talk about. But
All right, I'll see
Um,
you in the chat on your stream. Until then,
Sure.
reminding my audience that you don't get change in America by asking nicely. We will see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Thanks again for
Yes.
sticking by, and we will be back.